Alright, VC, I sort of teased since my Bitchin' Bayas, Los Bichos Bayas video, that I would come back and do a focus on Joshua Abrams in celebration of this wonderful new collaborative record, Totality on Drag City, Bitchin' Bajas and Natural Information Society, with a lot of the big members that they always work with, a lot of the same members. Cooper Crane, Rob Fry, and Daniel Quinlivan, of course, of Bitchin' Bajas. Jason Stein on bass clarinet. Yep, we'll talk about him in a second. Michael Patrick Avery, drummer. Lisa Alvarado, harmonium. And Joshua Abrams, double bass. And, of course, the Gwimbri, what he's really brought out as a real signature instrument for Abrams over the last 20-something years. Although he is a double bassist, is sort of what he's most also known for. So I thought we'll talk about some of the Joshua Abrams solo records and his work with Natural Information Society, which, of course, I've talked a lot about that group, but I'll show those records, but I really am going to lean more on the Abrams solo work and also his credits and guest work that he's done going back to the early 2000s. Abrams is certainly, still a little bit under the radar. He's certainly becoming a little more well-known as Natural Information Society sort of gains in awareness. I wouldn't say quite popularity, but they're definitely getting out there. Abrams is definitely associated with the Chicago sort of scene, avant-garde, free jazz, coming up in that scene and working with a ton of different... he does have a Tortoise Association. He's played with all kinds of people. Just to give you a couple of ideas here. Some will show Hamid Drake, David Boykin. Let's not get into it. Let's just start showing the records. He's got a ton of credits, and I've recently been trying to track down some of these records that are pretty cheap and pretty affordable. We're listening to one of his first records. This is really his first record that is sort of in the... He has a very specific formation when he's doing the Natural Information Society thing, and this is of that. This is pre-Natural Information Society, recorded in 2010. It's Abrams on Gwimbri. He's playing the MPC 1000, percussion, harmonium, bass bells, dulcimer, and danza ngoni bells. So it's really a solo record, but also includes Emmett Kelly on guitar from the Cairo Gang, Frank Roselli on drums, Noritaka Tanaka on drums, and Jason Adisowitz on vibes. Recorded live at the Hideout, some of this, or a track or two, but Lisa Alvarado, his longtime, partner maybe, but artwork, does most of the artwork, and that's kind of the signature that you're getting the Natural Information style recording, is if you see that type of artwork and print or tapestry similar to like a Moki Cherry. So this is from this title out, the self-titled, Natural Information it's called, of course. As we hear some of the Gwimbri in the background. So this is kind of the first record in that style. So that's what we're listening to. And this one has gone in and out of print, but I believe it's still available, or back in print. I believe this is on Eremite. Yep, Eremite is certainly associated with most of the Natural Information Society records, except if it's with the Bajas, it's Drag City. Here is a repress of Reprehencing. There's various represses of these records, but they're kind of all sell for about the same. Most of them do sell out. This is Joshua Abrams proper, and this is in the Natural Information Society, cover painting by Lisa Alvarado. You have a lot of the same players. Chad Taylor, we'll talk about him in a second, on gong and drums. Abrams playing organ, MS-20, harps, bells, harmonium, MPC again. Gwimbri, of course. David Boykin turns up here on tenor sax. On 2 tracks, Emmett Kelly again. On a few tracks, Michael Avery again. Lisa Alvarado also playing gong and harmonium. Tamika Reed, an artist that's become somewhat more well-known these days. Nicole Mitchell. See, these are all members of bands that they would be doing. Very much like everyone's working together on their own projects and guesting on other projects. Jeff Parker also plays in a bunch of his different things, of course, who was in Tortoise and many things. Jason Stein, again, bass clarinet, and Michael Zarang. So, if you don't know, Natural Information Society is very much a cosmic jazz, repetitive drone, but very meditative, a natural fit for the Bitchin' Bajas. And he's been doing this band for at least, 10, 15 years if you talk about this record that we're listening to. But this is Represencing. Oop. Nice cover. This one is some of the covers, if you get the first editions, they are like a textured silkscreen cover or textured cover. This one is not, it's the repress, but so it goes. This is on the Aguirre label, and that's Reprehencing. This one's definitely gotten expensive. Magnetoception, Joshua Abrams. And as you can see, again, with the design. Lisa Alvarado. But this is a double album, released on the Eremite label. You know, more of the droney, cosmic, spiritual jazz. That's what this is. We have Guimbri, bass, celeste, clarinet, small harp, and bells from Abrams. Hamid Drake is here on the frame, drum, tabla, conga, trap kit. Emmett Kelly on good electric guitar again. Jeff Parker electric guitar. Alvarado harmonium and the tapestry cover. And Ben Boy chromatic electric auto harp. You can see what's going on. They're really African influenced jazz records. Those are the Joshua Abrams technically solo records, not Natural Information Society. I'm not showing the Natural Information Society records. We've shown those. I've shown those a bunch of times. I'm only showing the name Abrams proper. So into his collaborations, and this is what I really wanted to focus on in this video, because a lot of these records are maybe missed or forgotten or not known about. This came out 2-3 years ago now, also on Drag City. This is a duo of just calling Mind Maintenance. Joshua Abrams with Chad Taylor, one of his collaborators. And this is a very much simple, direct, lovely duo record. Guimbri and Imbira, the two instruments that they're playing here. Lisa Alvarado did this cover too, so again, you know that you're getting that type of sound, that spiritual sound. But this one is a very stripped back and minimal record, but lovely. It's Mind Maintenance. That's what we're talking about here. This one should be available. It's Drag City. Nice thick sleeve on this. This one was recorded and mixed by Cooper Crane of the Bitchin' Bajas, by the way. And you'll start to see some of these were even recorded at Electrical Audio. So I think I might have missed it, but maybe Magnetoception was. But this is lovely stuff. Mind Maintenance. Next one is in this Rogueart, a European series that there's a lot of different artists featured, but this is Joshua Abrams' Cloud Script, a different band. That's Jeff Parker, Gerald Cleaver, and Ari Brown, who was featured on the last Natural Information Society record. And this is recorded in 2016 at Electrical Audio by Ken Brown. Here Abrams is playing just bass. And I've only played this a handful of times. It's more of a straight jazz record, but I love Abrams' bass playing. And you can see them here. They're in Studio B, where Material Objects recorded. Abrams playing double bass. There's Jeff Parker with the hat. Yeah, there it is. But so there's a whole description here of what this is. And this whole series, I don't know what this series is specifically, but this Rogueart series, they all have similar covers. This is actually recorded and mixed by, or it was mixed by Greg Norman, who we worked with, and mastered by Jean-Pierre Bouquet in France. So, sort of avant-leaning jazz record, but more of a spiritual feel with Jeff Parker on there and Ari Brown for sure. So that came out in 2020. I got this in Pittsburgh, I remember. All right, insert time. Whoa! Forgot one that I wanted to include, but just forgot in the moment and didn't want to forget it for this video. Josh Abrams. This is Daniel Givens from the year 2000, recorded in 1999 on the Aesthetics label. It's called Age. So you can get a look at that there. There we go. I'm going to keep driving now while I've shown the record, but that's how busy I am with trying to do videos and do a tour. Yeah, Daniel Givens. And this one was very interesting to me because he was a clerk at Other Music, the famed and favorite of mine record shop going back to the 90s and 2000s and up until 2014 anyway. Daniel Givens, a late sort of pick, but a guy that I didn't know was making this record. I didn't know this record at the time, but he was one I would talk to, and I would go in there and recommend things. And if you've gone into Other Music in the past, you'll recognize him. But anyway, he made this record for the Aesthetics label, which was a label very much around New York City, although I don't think it was New York City based, but a label Other Music carried and went defunct around 2008. Anyway, this is a really interesting sort of jazz record, a bit of electronica, a bit of spoken word. It's very spiritual. It comes from a spiritual perspective. And it includes Joshua Abrams, Jeff Parker's on this, Nicole Mitchell, I believe, on flute. But Givens is sort of doing a bit of spoken word, kind of almost rap beat, not even rap, more beat poetry, but with a real amalgamation of different sounds. Yeah, you're going to hear this and just feel like he's coming from a spiritual jazz perspective or the loft scene from New York City. And this is a cheap record. I got this for less than $10. There's still some cheap copies out there that I don't know if there's any more cheap copies in the U.S., but it's the kind of thing that someone will pop up for $8 to $10. And it's a double LP. And Abrams plays bass on 3 tracks, and they're all really good. I'll insert one here too. Again, it's just one of these sort of fusions of different sounds, a lot of space, and he's talking about a lot of almost Afrofuturistic ideals or ideas that like Sun Ra would have. Sun Ra would certainly be an influence on this, but Abrams contributing bass at this time to 3 songs. And again, really cool. This is Daniel Givens. He would put out another couple of CDs, maybe a cassette or something, just a couple of releases. I haven't looked into those, but really dig this one and the perspective he's coming from. So yeah, check this one out, and I'll put in a song right now.
A way to speak of what we seek. No surrender, no defeat. No tradition without religion.
There's one that I didn't know about, but I guess a few of you did, and Sherv put it in one of his more recent videos, and I was hooked. David Boykin Outet. This is on Thrill Jockey, who's gotten involved in some avant-garde jazz for sure. This goes back to 1999, and yeah, some of these same people are turning up. David Boykin playing tenor. All selections recorded live in concert in 1998. I had to get this from a Chicago dealer and was able to negotiate off Discogs for a better price, but it was still around about $30. But you should, if you wait and be patient, this one should turn up. It's not been repressed. But we have Joshua Abrams on bass here, and we have some vocals from Glenda Baker. Nicole Mitchell's, we'll talk about her in a second, on flute. Chad Taylor, we just talked about Mindings, on drums. And David Boykin, the saxophonist. This one is got a few bit challenging parts, but mainly it's a lot of space and texture to this one. I really love. He's playing on the beach here, Boykin. Evidence of Life on Other Planets, Volume 1. He's got other stuff on CD. I think this may be one of his only records. But yeah, we did see him contribute to the Magnetoception, I think it was. One of the 2 Joshua Abrams record he turned up on. So Astral, Lily, Elonis, Conundrum, and Hypnotic. Yeah, it's hypnotic jazz music, and that's what Abrams specializes in. And on this record with Boykin, he's definitely doing that. So, a nice one there. These next few are pretty new to me too. I've been trying to bring home these records that feature Abrams for cheap prices. Most of these are $10 to $15 records, except for the last one maybe. This one came out on the Astral Spirits label, a good label. A few we've talked about. I think John Digital Gramophone might have talked about this label, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. But this is a quartet. With Drazzek Fuscado. That's his record, really, featuring Hamid Drake, Tatsu Aoki, Thymme Jones, and Joshua Abrams. I've only listened to this twice, and I have to say it's good. I know I liked it, but I have a hard time describing what this is and where it goes. But another solid jazz record, and Abrams on bass specifically here, mastered by Matthew Barnhart at Chicago Mastering, of course. We know that. Hamid Drake doing the frame drum and drum kit, what he's really known for. And it looks like it's 2 side-long tracks, Weaving Tongues and The Coyote Messenger. This is the title is June 22nd. This was $15. You should be able to find this one. I really enjoyed it. Nice cover shot too. This next one is like a live recording that I found sort of... It's a one-off thing. It was super cheap, but I highly recommend getting this. This was really good, and it's one of the earlier recordings I found with Joshua Abrams on it. It's called... It's only 100 of these. This is 43 out of 100. God, here we go. It's on this tag, because this came just like this. It has like a little bit of a silkscreen image here, and a plain white label, no insert or anything. But it's called Dream Weapon, DRMWPN. You can see I got that for $7.99. Look for this one. You might be able to get it cheap too. Bright Blue Galilee on the Captcha label. Captcha, we all know about Captcha, right? Chicago, Illinois. And it's like a distorted Guimbri with Abrams here. I should find out. Let me get real quick with who is on this, because it's hard to tell what's going on here. It's one and only release, I think, with Dream Weapon. It's just 2 members. No, I don't know if this is true. They only have 1 release, Bright Blue Galilee. This is from 2008, Drone Psychedelic Rock Experimental, and it is that. That's primarily what we're talking about here. We have Steve Krakow from Plastic Crime Wave playing banjo, apparently. Liz Payne, bass. Cymbal is Adam Vida. Drums, Michael Zarang. Electric guitar, Ben Vita. We've talked about him before. Guimbri from Abrams. Maja Bean playing kalimba. Sam Wagster, lap steel guitar. And there's also some vocals and organ electronics on this too. Really cool. I highly recommend you checking this out. I'll try to put samples in some of these in, and I will do this one for sure too. Only 100 of these from 2008. Dream Weapon. Not like the Spaceman 3, but DRMWPN, whatever. This one maybe was the great, I've enjoyed all of this, but this was, of the new stuff I've gotten, this one blew me away the most. Very spiritual, very psychedelic. On the Delmark label, the Exploding Star Orchestra, this one goes very deep and really out there. The Stars Have Shapes from 2010, another one from around that time. A shitload of people on this, and you're going to really be excited when you see some of the people. It's really led by Rob Mazurek, another Chicago-based musician that really hasn't been talked about too much. This is a Pearl Records insert. But he's sort of turned up. He's in a lot of different groups, and he's maybe worth focusing on another time. But he's a lead player. This is his band. Mazurek has created a sound world that is unique to his own, sculpting a total sound environment by fully utilizing the beautiful instrumentation of the Exploding Star Orchestra, including a variety of sounds from. That talks about inspiration from the Brazilian rain, the Amazon, insects, hammering overdrive of bicycles in Copenhagen, stacked muted cornets run through various filters, drones built. That's a bunch of stuff being discussed here, but it sounds almost pretentious, but this is good, man. This is really good. This one knocked me back. Some Mazurek. Rob Mazurek is listed as director, composer, cornet, electroacoustic constructions. So yeah, you're going to get some electronics and manipulation. Nicole Mitchell, flutes voice, she's here. Matt Bowder, clarinet, tenor sax. Jeb Bishop, trombone. Jason Stein, he keeps turning up, we'll talk about him in a sec. Bass clarinet. Greg Ward, alto. Jason Adowitz, vibraphone. Matthew Lux, bass. Joshua Abrams, bass. John Herndon, tortoise there. Drums. Mike Reed, another one that's been associated with a lot of these guys. Drums. Damon Locks, word rocker. Carrie Biolo, gongs, tempo blocks, vibes, percussion. And Jeff Kowalowski, piano. This one is, if you like the Nala Sinefro release or any of her records, this one goes in that same kind of deep spiritual, but way out in space, psychedelic kind of constructions on this. This again was like $15 and sort of under the radar. I don't know. Maybe everyone knew about this at the time. From 2010, in memory of Bill Dixon and Fred Anderson. So you get an idea of what's going on here. It's on the Delmark label, which was reactivated. Also on the Delmark label, and he's come up a bunch of times, Jason Stein, and I think this is one that Teddy, I think, highlighted in one of his videos. I know Dave knows this one, I'm pretty sure. Lucille, 2017, Abrams bass, Tom Rainey drums, Keith Jackson tenor sax, contrabass, and Jason Stein bass clarinet. This is a really cool, sparse, kind of, I won't call it straight, but it doesn't get into sort of outsider textures or like electronics happening. It's a nice bass clarinet-led record. Jason Stein is a really cool player and sort of unique in his own right. Recorded in Chicago, and again, Chicago is a big part of what's going on here on this Delmark label. This I brought brand new. You can still get new stock copies of this for like $22. Really enjoy it. If you like bass clarinet, you really should be hopping on this. So. And one more, again, featuring Josh Abrams and his incredible work. He actually is only on one track on this. I thought he was on more. But this is maybe the most left field release, and it's sort of an indie band doing like Twin Peaks style instrumental music, and it's essentially Doug McCombs' band, Brokeback. And we have it here. Field recordings from the Cook County Water Table. And it really does feel like he's playing, I believe he's playing the bass six mostly on this. But Abrams plays, I think, just the first track, but it's a really cool piece after the Internationals on upright bass. But it's all engineered by John McIntyre at Soma Studios. Of course, this is Tortoise related. You have Mary Henson of Stereolab, rest in peace, who does a vocal on this. And Doug McCombs playing bass six. It's mainly what he's playing on here, but you also have Noel Coopersmith, double bass. Rob Mazurek is on this one, double bass, cornet, Doug McCombs. And yeah, who else? It's a lot of bass six. John McIntyre does turn up here. John Herndon again, Trap Kit. It's a Doug McCombs record, though. That's who Brokeback was or is or whatever. That's mainly a lot of the different collaborators. But this one goes back to 1999, a sort of nice period for Thrill Jockey at the time. I think this is out of print, so this one might be a little hard to get. Beautiful record. It does the sound of the title really gives you what you're getting here. It does feel like field recordings, spacious music. It's kind of instrumental, or it is instrumental except for that Mary Henson vocal, but music that's searching for something, seeking out, and sort of going in and out of different styles and floats, and really is a nice adventurous record and very enjoyable. And again, another piece of what Josh Abrams does and has done and continues to do with his style. And I can't wait for more Natural Information Society records, but I really love, and I'm discovering some of the more interesting and more straight, some of it more straight jazz and his double bass work, but other stuff, avant-garde jazz, and yeah, just showing like how unique and how much depth he has. So that's my video dedicated to the Natural Information Society Josh Abrams led work and all of his collaborations. I really wanted to make this more about him, since I've talked about NIS quite a bit. But hope you dug that, and hope you dug the samples, and probably can find some of these records out there from 15 to 20 bucks. So do that. Hope you enjoyed. Probably recommend me some of the other titles. I've gone through everything he's done, so there's probably a few I missed. And if there's any of those that you like, let me know. So all right, take care of